Now that you said there, what would be some of the stuff that families should, like a checklist before they travel? Something that usually people make mistakes that are very often made. What do you think would be things that families should follow a checklist before they go on a travel to not have some hard times?
Right. So if you're going internationally, make sure you have a passport.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't lose a passport. Keep it with you at all times. And then wherever you're traveling, I travel with a full pharmacy. Like every medication, I've never really needed any of them.
That's a good point.
But it's really nice, if and I take them on the plane. So I take liquid Tylenol for my kids. I put it in a tiny bottle and we take it on the plane because you don't want to be on a 4-hour flight and all of a sudden your kid doesn't feel well or something and you don't have medication to give them. Or you don't want to be, especially at an all-inclusive resort, where you need medication and you can't get quick access to it. Or if you do, it's $30 for something. So I would say and I keep it in your carry-on, don't check it, especially, with kids. And even and I take a thermometer, I take all of that. Just, worst case scenario, but it's just nice to have it and not have to deal with that. As far as when you're booking, look at flight times. So if you have a little kid that goes to bed at 8, whatever, you want to be booking flights that are maybe before that. You want to be maybe at your destination by that time. You don't want to have super long layovers. You don't want to have 4-hour plus layovers with kids because then you have to entertain them at the airport. St. Louis has a little play place, but not everywhere has that. So layover times are really important. If you can do nonstop, do it. If you're flying and you have the option, split your children up. Do not put them next to each other. Just because then you have fighting, you have, I wanted to sit there, I want to be a window seat. So I always sit, my husband has one child, I have one child, we're either in front and back or across, then there's no fighting, there's no issues at that. Pick your seats. So a lot of people don't pick their seats, which is okay. If your kids are under 13, they're supposed to sit with an adult. Doesn't always happen, especially with Southwest where there's not assigned seating. Sometimes you don't have that option if you get on the plane last and there's no seats. But if you don't pick your seat, you're not necessarily going to sit with your child or your families together.
Right.
So if that's important to you, do it. A lot of it's included, Frontier, Spirit, you'll have to pay to do that. So that adds up. Bring stuff to do on the plane, the car, snacks. Number one thing probably is to bring us snacks. Candy of all kinds. We bring water bottles and fill them up after you get through security, just so you have water at all times on the plane. Little packets of lemonade or something if they like flavor. Tablets. Screen
I'm trying to travel with Amy, man.
Screen time. This goes for adults too. Snacks. Drinks.
She's got 2 pages of checklists already.
No, it's just don't think about it.
Yeah, and that's the stuff. When. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I would end up on my first trip and I got my chapstick and my wallet.
Right. And you don't think about it. But it's, when you need it, it's good to have all that.
Do clients usually ask you about if their credit card will work in Mexico, or do you advise them to take cash? How does that work?
So most of the time you're going to want to take cash if you're doing it all-inclusive, because a lot of these resorts, the employees, the waiters, everything, they live off tips. So if they're doing a good job, tip them. That's their livelihood. You can use U.S. dollars. You don't need to exchange. So then you don't get how much am I actually tipping them?
Yeah.
Just take 1s and 5s and use that.
Yeah.
And then you need to travel with a credit card. Many credit cards have international. They don't charge exchange rates. Some do, which it's not that much, like 1%. But a lot of hotels, U.S. and internationally, require a deposit. So when you're traveling, if you don't have a credit card or if you only have a debit card, make sure your limit's high enough that they can put that hold on it. They won't charge it, but it will go on a pending hold. And then when you leave, if you don't charge anything or you don't destroy your room, then that will fall off.
I was a banker for a while, and one thing people would always forget to do is notify the bank or the credit card company that you are going to be in a place where you're not normally spending. Because a lot of times the bank will they'll say, oh my gosh, Victor's someone's got his card
in Mexico.
And they'll freeze it.
Yep.
And then so you're sitting there going, what the heck? You know?
At 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And you can usually do that from your app or anything.
Yeah, nowadays.
You don't have to necessarily call you. There's usually, when you get on your app, you can notify them where you're traveling, what you're doing. But yeah, that's important. If you have a credit card that is a travel credit card, you're fine. Which if you're going to travel a lot, I would recommend that.
Do most of these resorts have cell service? Like if we bring our cell phone, most of the places?
Yeah, so it depends a little bit on what company. If you have a Verizon or AT&T.
Sure.
Verizon works in everywhere. They have Mexico, it's free. But if you use like data or anything, they actually anywhere, Jamaica, or when I go over to Lithuania, it's $10 a day. So when you land, if it's not in airplane mode, you'll automatically be charged. So keep your phone in airplane mode if you don't want to be charged. But if you land and it connects to data or anything, you're going to be charged $10, and that's for the day. And then you have, I think it's up to 2 gigs of data and then calls. So it'll work. What I usually do is I keep it in airplane mode. So turn on when you fly to it tells you to put it in airplane mode. Keep it in airplane mode till you get to the resort. Then you can use Wi-Fi calling. You can text, you can call off their Wi-Fi. It's not going to cost you anything.
Gotcha.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.